Hey mamas, it's your girl Carrie, and welcome back to another episode of Mom Life, Career Life. Today's episode, it's a little different. It's not a quick tip kind of episode. It's a pull up a chair and let me talk to your heart during the episode. Not that for a second, I expect you to not be multitasking while listening. My hope is always that you are out for a nice walk in nature or getting some sort of self-care in while listening, but I know some of you are folding laundry, maybe sitting in traffic on your way to work or standing on a train waiting for your stop. But whatever it is you're doing, I have a feeling that this episode is really going to resonate with you because if I'm being honest, I've been going through it lately. I've shared a little bit on the podcast, but I wanted to open up a little more today and not just to vent, though, let's be real, I love a good mom vent, but to give you something that my mentor gave me. And honestly, it hit so hard. She said, "You're juggling a lot right now, but not every ball is made of glass." Let's just pause on that for a second because that visual, it shifted everything for me. We're all juggling our jobs, our kids, carpool, groceries, that one cabinet in the kitchen that's now a Tupperware avalanche every time you open it up. And every single ball feels urgent. But the truth is, some of those balls are glass, but some of them are rubber. And learning which is which, that's the key to your sanity. It is the absolute key to my sanity right now. That's the difference between surviving and actually breathing again. But here's the thing, knowing the difference really requires boundaries, and not just the say no to the bake sale kind, although please say no to the bake sale. I'm talking about the kind of boundaries that let you protect your energy, time, and your peace like the absolute treasures that they are. And if this resonates with you, go grab my Boundaries Made Simple guide in the show notes. It's not just about saying no without the guilt, though, yes, I will help you with that too. It's about helping you figure out which balls are truly glass and how to lovingly let the rubber ones bounce. Because social media, that's rubber. The PTA meeting you didn't sign up for, rubber. Perfectionism, oh, mama, that's not even a ball. That's a weight that you could put down completely. I'm telling you right now. So today's episode really comes from my heart to yours, a reminder that you do not have to hold it all up. Let's talk about what's glass, what's rubber, and how to give yourself full permission to breathe again. Are you feeling overwhelmed trying to juggle all the many hats you wear as a working mom? Do you want more quality time with your family without distraction of work and time alone to take care of yourself and your needs? Welcome to Mom Wife Career Life. I'm Carrie, a wife, mom of 3, and a recovering perfectionist. In this podcast, I will teach you how to create balance in your life by implementing healthy habits, organizing your home and your schedule, being intentional with your time and in your relationships, and most importantly, how to start putting your needs first because no one can pour from an empty cup. Grab that second cup of coffee, or if you're anything like me, your third. It's time to dive into today's episode of Mom Wife Career Life. I try to be as open as I can on this podcast, but there are some things that I don't share or go too deep into because I really respect the privacy of other people in my life. But I've been going through some things lately. I've shared a little here and there on the podcast. I had a bit of a health scare that kind of shook me. And after all of those tests have come back, everything looks fine. And I took a lot of tests, but the doctors believe that everything I've been going through is stress related. And that stress comes from all the other things that have been going on that I had to add to my plate on top of all the other balls I juggle on a regular basis, which is ironic because those tests really caused me more stress than I've ever had in my life. But all is well. I am working on it. And I've been told I need to de-stress. And one of the best ways I de-stress besides self-care is by talking to people who are trained to help. And I have this mentor kind of coach I'm working with right now. And she said something to me that I already know is life-changing because since the second I heard it, I have not stopped thinking about it. And I've used it multiple times a day to decipher what is really worth my energy right now and what is not. She said to me, "You're juggling a lot right now, but not every ball is made of glass." And let's talk about that analogy for a second. We're all juggling our work, our marriage, parenting, maybe your parents' stuff, scheduling all the school stuff, the house stuff, hopefully getting some self-care in there, your finances, maybe a baby who only naps for 20 minutes on a good day. But the truth is, some of those balls are rubber and some are glass. The glass ones, if you drop them, they shatter. The rubber ones, they bounce. Maybe they roll off into a corner and you can pick them up later. The key is learning which is which. I did this exercise and it's honestly helped me so much, not just in my personal life, but at work too, because I know I'm not the only one feeling like work these days. The work just keeps piling up. But this is learning about how to prioritize. Not everything can be a priority. Not everything can be a glass ball. So what are the glass balls? Let's go a little deeper with this one because identifying what's truly glass and what's just loud and demanding can really feel tricky when everything feels urgent. So how do you tell the difference? The glass balls are the things that, if dropped, come with real consequences. They're fragile. They matter long term. They're aligned with your deepest values, not just your current pressures. So 3 questions you can ask yourself are, if I let this go right now, what is the cost 6 months from now or even a year from now? The second, would future me thank me for prioritizing this? And the third, if I'm pouring my energy into this, is it actually nourishing something or just depleting me? And I want you to know that glass balls shift with the season you're in. When you have a newborn or a kid homesick from school, their needs and your rest are glass. If your marriage is in a fragile place right now and you haven't had a real conversation with your partner in weeks, that connection, that's glass. Your job, if you need the income, glass. If your own mental health is running on fumes, that's not selfish, that's glass. Your job, if you really need that paycheck, is glass. But busting your butt and working more hours than you should when you're not getting paid for it, that's not. And here's the one we all forget. You are a glass ball. Your rest, your peace, your joy, you weren't meant to be the last thing on your own list. This is exactly where boundaries come in. And I want you to grab my free guide if you haven't grabbed it already, because when everything's screaming urgent, boundaries are how you stop, breathe, and decide with intention. They help you say, this matters. This doesn't. This can wait. That cannot. And that is how you protect your glass without breaking yourself in the process. So now let's talk about the balls that bounce, because not everything you're juggling needs to be clutched like your sanity depends on it. Rubber balls are tasks, expectations, and obligations that feel urgent, but aren't actually important in the long run. They might roll away, they might bounce into a corner, but guess what? Life will absolutely keep going, and so will you. And if they go to the corner, when you're in a better place and have less to juggle, less glass, you can go and pick them up again. But here's the challenge. Rubber balls often disguise themselves as glass. They feel loud, they're demanding, maybe time sensitive. But if you drop them, nothing will truly break. So how do you know something is a rubber ball? Ask yourself these 3 questions. 1, if I don't do this today, will anything really suffer? 2, am I doing this because I think I should or because I deeply want to? Number 3, what would I tell my best friend? Would I tell my best friend to stress over this or let it go? And here's a couple of examples. The laundry that's currently looks like Mount Everest on your couch, that's rubber. And hey, at least everyone has a clean pair of underwear, even if it's in a pile that you have to dig through. That perfectly styled bento box lunch you saw on Pinterest that I always wanted to do for my kids but never did, rubber. Responding to every email, every text, every RSVP on time, definitely rubber. Keeping up with every school spirit day themed socks and cupcakes on a sheet, totally rubber. And no, your child will not go into therapy because they wore regular socks on a crazy sack day. I've forgotten things and my kids are just fine, I promise you. And here's the thing about rubber balls. Some balls you can absolutely drop altogether. Some you can delegate, like asking your partner to manage the grocery list or letting the kids handle simple chores, even if their version of clean is totally not yours. I've had to delegate some rubber balls recently. I hired a cleaning service again that comes every other week. Russ helps me with the groceries. And honestly, I've been having him just do the meal planning on his own and tell me what I have to make on the days he's not here. And a really big one, we just hired a college financial coach to help us navigate colleges and what schools Ashley can get a great education within our budget. This was something that we totally thought we could do ourselves. But this is kind of a glass ball, and in trying to navigate the whole college process, and the cost of college is just ridiculous these days, which, side note, if you didn't start a 529 for your kids' college savings yet, please do your future self a favor and start it today. You can thank me later. I also look at this coach, as I do every coach I work with, as an investment because they will hopefully save us thousands in the long run. Keeping my fingers crossed with that one. A little bit of a tangent. So let's get back to those rubber balls. Some of those balls you can just leave on the floor and decide that they don't get to take up space in this season of life anymore. And just because something is a rubber ball doesn't mean it's not valuable. It just means it's not urgent right now. Rubber balls remind us that we can't do it all and we're not supposed to. And letting go of what truly doesn't matter is how you make space for the things that do. So this week, I really want you to ask yourself, what's one thing I've been treating like a glass ball that I can give myself permission to drop or pause or hand off? And if your nervous system clenches at the thought of not doing all the things, that's your sign that you really need to lean into boundaries even more, because sometimes peace looks like a pile of unfolded laundry, a slow no thanks to a volunteer sign up sheet, and a deep breath as you walk away from the things that no longer need your energy. Rubber balls bounce. Let them. And a side note about laundry, at least in my area, there are a ton of laundry services popping up that come to your house, pick up your laundry, wash them, dry them, fold them, and bring them back. So if it's within your budget, toss that laundry ball to someone else. Taking the time to really write down all the balls I'm juggling and put them into these two categories has been such a game changer for me. And I didn't just do this at home. I did it at work too. Work has gotten really stressful too. And luckily, I have a really great manager who I've been very open and honest with since we started working together a few months ago. And she knows a lot of what I'm juggling outside of work. And I met with her last week and I laid out what I considered my non-negotiables, my glass balls at work, so that way we could be aligned on expectations. It was a really great conversation. And honestly, I think she appreciated the clarity, or at least I hope she did. And this is really an exercise I'm going to carry with me for the rest of my career, because in today's corporate world, with the economy, politics, AI shift, and constant reorgs, priorities are changing faster than I know I can even keep up with. You can't treat every project, every ping, every deadline like it's made of glass. Some of those things might break if you drop them. Most won't. So stop trying to act like they will. And having this conversation with your manager, or if you have direct reports, giving them this exercise so that they're not completely overwhelmed. And when you meet, you can help them decipher what's considered a glass bowl and where they should be spending their energy, can be a huge game changer on everyone's productivity, everyone's mental health, and just happiness at your job. And this isn't just self-care. It's leadership, it's clarity, it's sustainability. And it might just be the thing that keeps you from burning out in a system that constantly demands more. And here comes the little vulnerability twist. Sometimes we think a ball is glass, but it's really rubber. And that brings me to something personal that I really wanted to talk about today. This podcast. Right now, for me, it's a glass ball. It is so important to me to show up for you every week. I never want a mom, especially one who's having a tough day, who looks forward to hearing my voice, to open up her app and not see an updated episode from me. I put so much into the show and I sacrificed a lot. And just a side note, I don't make any money off of this podcast. I hope one day in the future that I will, but I think of this podcast as my nonprofit, my way to serve in God's light, to help moms that need a little extra love in their life. But I'm going to be really honest with you right now. Lately, I've been looking at this podcast, this glass ball, every week and asking myself, just for this week, could this be a rubber ball? And I'm actually have my hands in the shape of a ball, like I'm holding this podcast in my palms right now, and you can't see it. Maybe someday I will make these into YouTube podcasts, but right now, you can just pretend you can see me holding a ball in my hand. But I asked myself, what would really happen if I didn't release an episode 1 week? Would the world stop spinning? Probably not. Would my listeners understand? I think, I hope, yes. But I've been busting my butt on overtime trying to create episodes and batch record to give myself some breathing room between what's going on personally and going on a 2-week vacation where I can't bring my mic, and then coming home to a crazy schedule and back to school season and college applications and all the senior year stuff. My anxiety levels are going up just thinking about it. And I really, really hope that through it all, I'm able to keep up with this podcast. But life has been tough. And there have been times where Russ looks at me when I'm stressing out. And I know he wants to tell me this podcast is rubber right now, but he never will, because he knows how much this show means to me. And here's me being really vulnerable and saying, if there's ever a week when you hit that refresh button and there's no new episode, please know that it was just a really hard week for me. And I'm getting a little emotional as I say this. It was a week where I needed to let a ball bounce so that I could breathe a little better and know that it was not an easy decision for me to make. But I promise you, I will be back. I will never let this ball just bounce away. And I want you to have that same permission too. You are not a robot. You're not human. You're a deeply loving, wildly capable, beautifully messy human juggling a whole lot. And you do not have to have it all together all the time. You do not have to do all the things. If something needs to bounce this week, let it bounce. If something needs to break, let it be the unrealistic expectations you're holding, not your body, not your mental health, and not your happiness. And you're not failing by saying, not this week. You're being smart, and don't ever let anyone else's expectations make a rubber ball glass. This is where you really need to trust your gut, dig in deep to your values, your priorities, and your non-negotiables, and you define which balls are which. And honestly, if you are feeling really overwhelmed right now, maybe you just had a baby and those first few months of sleepless nights and feedings are rough, or maybe you were dealing with a sick parent, or maybe everything just seems to be falling on your plate and you need a break. Sit down with your partner and talk about this exercise and tell them you need to let some of those rubber balls bounce right now. You can even have them listen to this episode. Russ and I have been doing this and using this analogy all the time lately. He might bring something up that we need to do or talk about, and I might just say to him, rubber ball, literally those two words. And he knows that it means that I have a lot on my plate right now and it's not a good time to talk about it, or that I need to focus on other things. And it goes both ways. He could say rubber ball too, but it's also a conversation of where he needs support. I wrote Russ a honey-do list this past weekend of things I really needed him to do to help my sanity. They were all pretty much involved getting us ready for our trip, like getting euros, calling the credit card company to let them know we're traveling so they don't cut off our credit card when we go to use it. All added things that are kind of glass because we need to do that for our trip. But I also had a list of glass I needed to deal with this weekend, and I knew that I couldn't take on anymore. So we divided and conquered. So try to have this conversation with your partner. Maybe you both need it. And I just really want to thank you for letting me be real with you today. This was a little bit of a vulnerable one, but I hope it really gives you the permission you need to drop the perfectionism and lean into your peace. And if this episode resonated with you, please share it with another mama who you think might need this reminder too. I see you and I'm cheering you on, even if you've got a few balls bouncing in the corner right now. Take care of your glass ones. And most importantly, give yourself grace. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Carrie Pat. Before you go, if you found this podcast helpful, I would be so grateful if you would take a minute, go on over to iTunes and leave me a review. If you have other stressed out mamas in your life that you feel this podcast could help, take a screenshot of this episode, post it on your Instagram stories and tag me, and let them know that they are not alone and they can create balance in their life too. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover or you just want to connect, DM me on Instagram at mom.wife.career.life or come on over and hang out in our free Facebook community, Work-Life Balance for Working Moms. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Carrie Pat.